Hello, hello, hi, folks. Welcome. Happy Wednesday. In hopes that you squeezed more out of your day than the day squeezed out of you. Welcome. Good to see you. Um, Tonight, I got a cool little story for us. Um, I haven't told this story in a while, huh? I haven't told this story for a little bit. This story is a really cool story, and you know, sometimes you plant, right? You plant a plant, you plant a seed, and then like there's a wall in front of you, and you enjoying the fruits of your labor, if you would. Literally a wall in front of you. So what do you do in that situation? Like when you can't see what you wanted to see. Let me give you this story. It'll make a lot more sense. Um, Lady was really into gardening. In fact, she loved it so much that she had a beautiful um, garden in the back of her home. And every so often, she would buy more plants and plant more plants. Um, and this one time, she was going through this catalog. For those of you who don't know what a catalog is, that would be something that you would look through, like an online catalog. You would look through on paper and actually pick and choose what you wanted. So, hi Dalal, happy birthday. How are you? Welcome. Good to see you. So one day, as she's going through this, she sees this vine, this plant that really catches her attention, right? And she says, I gotta have this. So she orders it, and she already knows where she's gonna plant it. She has everything all thought out, right? So she gets the vine, she gets the plant, and she decides to plant it right against her wall in the back of the backyard. So she waters it, she cares for it, she even talks to it, right? And she's not seeing much growth. Not like she saw in the catalog, right? Well, she says maybe it needs more time. Well, she gives it more time, more care, more water, more sun, more, even more talking, right? And there's not much that's happening. So one day, as she's standing there, kind of staring at this thing, and not much flowers, not much anything of anything, um, her neighbor knocks on the door. So she gets a door, and the neighbor comes in. They sit in the garden, and the neighbor says, "Hey, by the way, I meant to thank you for the vine you planted." And the lady says, "What are you talking about?" And she says, "Well, it looks like you planted a vine just recently, and what it's doing, it's actually growing from underneath the wall that 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 separates you and I. It's growing from underneath there into my yard. So I'm seeing all the flowers and all the growth of this plant, and you're not." you know and the lady says, no wonder I can't see much of growth on this plant. It's actually growing on the other side of the wall where I can't see. Now, the moral of the story, or the takeaway of the story, if you would, is that sometimes you do, let's call it a random act of kindness. Sometimes you do something good, right, for somebody. I'm going to give you two takeaways, two completely opposite. Sometimes you give somebody, love and and then you don't get it back, right? You feel like you're not getting it back. You feel like you're not seeing the results, right? But just because there's not much noise made or not much talk being talked, that doesn't mean the effects of what you're doing is not being noticed on the other side of the wall by somebody else. See, you may be doing things and you may think it's not affecting anybody, but in fact, it is. I'll give you a perfect example. And that is my lives. I've been going live since January 1, 2019, every single day. Wow, no matter what. And there have been some crazy times and crazy places where I've actually done a live. But here's the thing, and there's been times where, a lot of times where nobody joins me live. Nobody is on my lives. I do them a little later, and that's what happens, right? And I know that, right? And yet, I get messages from people afterwards that, hey, you know, I really appreciate your live, or I really appreciated this, or I appreciate that. And I don't even see that person or those people commenting or coming on live and watching me or any of that sort. But yet, all of a sudden, something connects with them, resonates with them enough to come forward and send me a private chat and say, hey, you know what? I really appreciated that live. You feel that? You know what I'm talking about? So I do my lives, and sometimes I don't see anybody on, right? Sometimes I'm not seeing I don't get to see the benefits, or I don't get to reap the benefits, if you would, right? Because you're not here right now live. You may watch it. You may watch the replay a month from now, right? A year from now. I've had that happen, which is kind of crazy, right? So it's a perfect example. So just when you think your work is not helping, or your work is not making an impact, or it's not, or someone doesn't care about what you do, just know that people do watch, people do care, people do appreciate, but not all the time they voice it. You know, sometimes it's a whole different form of appreciation. You know, they may just say, hey, how's your day? And that's their form of appreciating you, right? But when you plant a seed, you've got to know that, hey, you're not the only one that gets to benefit or appreciate the beauty of what you planted, right? You're not alone in this. Even though you may not see the effect on others, but you can't be naive enough to think that, well, I'm the only one, right? There was a time that I thought, you know, replay, like who would watch a replay of my live, right? And I honestly, truthfully, I never thought that anybody would watch the replay, because here's a confession. I actually don't watch my own lives. I don't watch the replay. The only one I ever, well, actually, I didn't watch that either to the end. So I haven't watched one single live of myself, a replay. So I never thought anybody would watch that. But then the very first time somebody sent me and message and said, hey, I really appreciate this live that you did. I was like, what? Wait, hold up. You actually watched my live? Yes. But I don't see you on ever. Yeah, I watched the replay. What? I was blown away that somebody actually would watch the replay. And then it happened again, and then again. And people commented and texted and chatted and said, hey, a live you did 3 weeks ago on this subject, I really, really appreciate. I was like, and these are real stories. And some of them I've taken snapshots of the texts and posted them. But isn't that crazy? When you think nobody's watching, they're watching. When you think it's not helping anybody, it's helping. It's helping. So you do you. You do the right thing. You do the good thing. You be kind. You spread the love. And just because people don't make noise about it doesn't mean that people don't appreciate it, and doesn't mean that it's not impacting their lives. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. That's a very unique takeaway of this story, if you would, right? And I just love the surprise factor that's there when the neighbor tells her, hey, by the way, that vine you planted is beautiful. Thank you so much. I like, the surprise factor, because you're like, what? Just like me with the lives and the comments. What? Right? You don't know. So I ask you this. Listen, you may think you're not impacting lives. You may think that you're not affecting people, but there's people watching you. So lead by example and do the right thing and be the good person all the time, because you never know. You never know who's watching, who's taking notes, and who's really looking up to you, and you don't even know it. Hopefully, you got some love, some inspiration, some value from this live. I appreciate you guys. I want to know your takeaway from this story. I want to know if you have a story like that, if you have something that relates, and drop your comments below. Let this feed grow. I appreciate you guys. Tag a couple people to this, share it on your wall, do what you got to do, spread the love, but do share your thoughts and takeaways. With that, remember, if you share, you show that you care. Until tomorrow, when we do it all over again. Much love.